Today, we're visiting a raw milk farm.
Kelsey is the most knowledgeable person when it comes to raw milk that I have ever met. She runs the farm, the Barefoot Cow. I'm so excited to be able to ask her some questions, get a behind the scenes look at her farm, and just talk to her all about raw milk and how to make sure that the farm that you're getting your milk from is a safe farm that has safe milking practices. She's going to give us all her tips, and I cannot wait for her to show us around her farm.
Kelsey, hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for having us come out here to your farm. I'm really excited for you to teach us all about raw milk and the milking process and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming. I love talking about raw milk and I love just sharing what I do here.
So tell us a little bit about you and how you got started with your passion for raw milk and milking.
Yeah. Okay, so my name's Kelsey Barefoot. I am the owner and the operator here at the Barefoot Cow, the micro dairy. I milk 1 to 3 cows at a time, Jersey cows. I did not grow up as a dairy farmer. My dad got into it when I was in nursing school. I was in nursing school being completely westernized medicine taught. I thought he was crazy and that he was gonna die for drinking raw milk. I finished nursing school and I finally tried the milk myself. And I didn't die. So I was like, okay, I like this and how can I get into it more? And I started looking for places around here to drink raw milk and there was very few. I started just deciding I would do it myself. And so then I quit my job as a nurse after working in the neurotrauma ICU for 8 years. And I said, I'm gonna commit to this lifestyle. And after going through some of my own health issues, I really decided to commit to ancestral eating and really living the way I believe that God intended for us to live. So now here I am full-time milking cows. After I quit working as a nurse, I needed some more income than just milking cows. And it just happened to work out because I wanted to get Raw Me listed, which is the Raw Milk Institute comes in, they don't actually come to your farm, but you do like a Zoom with them and they go over all your procedures and everything that you do to kind of say that you're doing it by the gold standard. So I went through that process just like my dad did, and they said, hey, we need somebody to like collect data from farmers and help like be a mentor to other farmers who are trying to do this. So I said, sure, you know, I'd love to do that. So now that's what I do, and I actually sit on the board of directors at the Raw Milk Institute.
Love that.
So I'm just, it all just flows together. I'm able to like provide milk to the community. Our family is able to get the milk. And then I'm also teaching farmers all over the US and Canada about how to transition from pasteurized milk to raw milk.
So what are some of the differences between pasteurized milk versus raw milk? What is pasteurized and what is raw, and what are the differences between those two types of milk?
Yeah, great question. So it's a loaded question because there's a lot that can be talked about there, but the basic difference between pasteurized milk and raw milk is not processed. Raw milk is coming straight from the cow just the way that it is, and we're not doing anything to change it. Pasteurized milk is greatly changed through heating it to 167 degrees Fahrenheit, which kills off a lot of the nutritional benefits in it. Then it's also homogenized, which all the fats in it are broken up to where it's all the same. So on pasteurized milk, you won't see that lovely cream at the top because it's all been broken down.
Yeah.
When I think about pasteurized milk, I think about dead milk. It's just what's left. And because it's heated so quickly and to such a high temperature, there's nothing in it that can live. So the beneficial bacteria in it is also killed.
Gotcha.
And that's the bacteria that we need in our gut.
Yeah.
So it's really just like drinking it for the taste. You're not really getting much else with the milk.
So what are some of the main differences in like the vitamin nutritional content with raw milk versus pasteurized milk?
Yeah, it's huge. So with the raw milk coming just the way it is, it's got beneficial enzymes in it that are not killed, that are not denatured. It's got vitamins A, D, C, potassium, calcium, phosphorus, thiamine, and so many others. The probiotics that are naturally in it. So that's for our gut health.
Yeah.
It's got immune properties, IgA and IgG, which are good for our immune system. And we all know now, we're learning that our gut is our immune system.
Yeah.
So that's in the raw milk, and it doesn't get killed because we don't heat it.
Yeah.
It's literally coming straight from the cow just the way it is.
Yeah.
And then you're also getting that nice cream on top. So all that good fatty acids, DHA, EPA, all of that is left in it. It's truly the closest thing to human milk that there is.
Wow.
So many nutritional benefits. And as a dairy farmer, I can't really say, this is good for you, you need to drink it. But working for the Raw Milk Institute and kind of speaking from that platform, I can talk about the nutritional benefits of raw milk.
Got you. Okay, so if somebody is currently drinking pasteurized milk from the store and they want to make the switch to raw milk, is there anything important that they need to know before doing so?
The first thing would be to check your source, right? You wouldn't buy meat from a butcher that had like not very good hygienes or good meat. So you want to look at your dairy farmer and what they have to offer. So if you want to make the switch, that we can go into all the questions that you should ask later. But if it's clean raw milk and it's just the way it's supposed to be, then you can make the switch and have no GI issues whatsoever.
Okay.
So you really have to think about your own microbiome and what you have going on.
Okay.
Because we live in a very sterile world where there's heavy use of antibiotics.
Yeah.
So if you're going to switch, but you know that it's been tested and it's really clean, you can just make the switch and you'll probably have good GI benefits. Like you'll notice like things are better.
Yeah.
But if you made the switch and maybe it was a little bit higher count, even good bacteria, you may have a little bit of GI upset. It might just be a lot for your very sterile environment. So that's one reason that I like to keep my milk really clean. I don't do it like hand milking the farmer's way, the way like our ancestors did it, because they had a whole different microbiome than the people that are coming to me for milk. The good thing about it is raw milk provides a lot of good benefits for your gut. So switching should not be hard. And then the other thing is talking about the difference between just regular raw milk, A1, A2, and A2 raw milk, which gets into the proteins in the raw milk. And so people think that switching from pasteurized to raw milk is the perfect switch, but sometimes they're still lactose intolerant, or they think they're lactose intolerant because they're really drinking A1 protein, which can be in raw milk or pasteurized milk.
Okay.
So you really want to look for, I think the gold standard is A2 raw milk.
Okay.
So basically what that means is that cow is genetically bred to produce the protein A2, which is digestible to humans.
Okay.
And so lactose intolerant people can drink A2 raw milk.
Really?
Actually, like half my customers are lactose intolerant, and it's really because lactose intolerant we're finding really means maybe that they're just allergic to the A1 gene mutation that kind of got created by big dairy farming, breeding cows really quickly, and the old foundational cows that our grandparents used to drink from was A2. And that's just kind of got bred out of them.
Yeah.
So now we're working really hard to get the A2 breeding back into our cows so they produce A2 protein milk that we can drink.
Okay, so if people tolerate regular pasteurized milk and dairy fine, is it okay for them to drink A1 raw milk, or ideally should everybody be trying to get A2?
I personally believe, and there's research coming out for this, that everyone should be drinking A2, that's what our body was meant to drink.
Okay.
That the A1 is not really digestible by anyone. People just tolerate it better than others.
Okay. Yeah. And so when people are switching, does it cook and bake the same as pasteurized milk?
Yeah, and it's actually better. I cook with mine and it's creamier. It's got a better consistency to it. It bakes really well for like really moist banana bread or whatever you want to make. I have no issues with cooking with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But most people don't cook with it because they want to drink it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find, so a lot of people don't even bake with it at all.
Gotcha. Because it does, heating it, does that kill off all the beneficial bacteria?
It does some, yeah. When you heat it, it's basically like low pasteurization. So you're killing some of it in baking, but it's still better than starting out with none.
Dead milk.
Yeah.
Okay. So does it taste different than pasteurized milk?
So personally, I think it tastes way different than pasteurized milk in a great way.
Yeah.
It tastes like, wow, this is what milk is supposed to taste like. I've always loved milk and I've drank it my whole life. I can't drink pasteurized milk anymore because it just tastes like skim milk.
Yeah.
Now, even the whole milk.
Yeah.
It's got a very full texture, but it's not thick like drinking yogurt.
Yeah.
And it depends on what the cow's eating too. It has very rich taste that everybody who has drank pasteurized milk that already likes milk that has switched, nobody has said that it tastes bad or worse by any means.
No.
They love it and they can't go back.
Yeah. I don't like pasteurized milk because it has a weird aftertaste to me, but raw milk doesn't, and it's almost sweet. It's delicious. And then can you talk a little bit about kefir and cheese made from raw milk? Are they going to be more nutritious when made with raw milk?
Yeah, they're definitely more nutritious. You can still make kefir and cheese and it's still beneficial, like the bacteria in kefir is still good even if it's made with pasteurized milk, but you're not getting near the probiotics that you would if you made it with raw milk. Really just getting your raw milk is beneficial, but if you add it with kefir, then you're just really getting that good gut bacteria going.
So regarding supplementing and supplements for the cow, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, do cows need grain? Do they need extra supplements, or like alfalfa versus grain?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there's a huge misconception right now out there that cows do not need any grain. And it's something that I definitely want to touch on because grain is not bad. It's really important that your cow is primarily grass and forage fed. You primarily want them on grass, hay, alfalfa. Alfalfa is great for milk production, but that cow has a high nutritional need whenever they are lactating and when they're pregnant, which a dairy cow is either pregnant or lactating almost all of the time. So we do give them a dry period, and that goes back to the ethical point of it. Is she gets at least 3 months dry, just for her body to catch up. But it's very important during that time that she gets the nutritional things that she needs, including vitamins, minerals, all the things that we need. I do feed an organic, non-GMO grain only during feeding time, during milking. And that also really helps her be happy during milking. Because she needs to just be in there, doing something. She doesn't want to just stand there and be milked. So I feed her during milking time and she's happy. I feed primarily alfalfa pellets, and then I feed a grain that has lots of copper, selenium, all the needs that they don't get from our soil anymore, which is another huge thing. People say, well, back then they didn't used to feed grain. Well, back then they had healthy soils producing healthy grass, which made for, all the vitamins and minerals they needed. So now grain supplement is not a bad thing. And that's something that when people are looking for raw milk, don't freak out because they're feeding some organic grain. Because you want a happy, nutritionally calorie-fed cow to be producing milk. You don't want her to be like starving on her energy, because a Jersey cow and milk cows, they will forfeit their weight to make milk. It's just their nature and it's their genes. So I need to be feeding her high calories, high vitamins. It's bad when you look at the conventional dairy farmers, all they feed is grain all day long. And the cows get no grass. That's the difference. It's really bad for the rumen, but a little bit of feed supplementation is not bad. In fact, I think it's a good thing.
It makes sense. Just like, humans, like lactating women, you need to eat a lot of calories to produce healthy milk for your baby and not starve yourself. All right, so talk to me a little bit about the ethics and quality of life for the cows in a raw milk farm compared to like a conventional dairy farm.
Yeah, so huge differences there. I would just say that I would never drink raw milk that is from a big conventional dairy that was intended for pasteurization. Raw milk that comes from a raw farm intended for human consumption have two totally different practices. I mean, they're night and day. So whenever you're gonna look at the two differences, the first thing from a conventional big dairy is there's gonna be a lot of cows in a little bit of space. Very little grazing, high grain fed. A lot of times they don't get the sunlight that they need for good vitamin D absorption. They are not kept with their calves, which is another ethical issue. And then in general, they're just not as healthy because that milk is intended for pasteurization. So the cleanliness of the environment is not really a big consideration because they have that comfort of everything that I milk is going to be pasteurized anyway. So who cares? A raw farm knows that they're not pasteurizing their milk and it's going straight from the udder to the glass. So great care has to be taken into our environment. Our pastures have to be clean. We can't have our cows laying in manure. So we also have to have good grass because they're out all the time. Cows have 4 stomachs. So part of their rumen is getting their good gut system going, which transfers to us.
Okay.
So if they're eating all the time good grass hay or alfalfa hay or good grass, then their gut health is good, and then what we're drinking from them is good too.
Gotcha.
But another thing is most raw milk dairies will calf share, which means they keep their calves with the mamas until the point of weaning.
Okay.
Which is both good, in my opinion, for the cow, for her hormones, for her lactation cycle.
Yeah.
And it's good for me because I get to share with her, because
Yeah.
the calf can't possibly drink all that milk.
Right.
So it's not like I'm stealing the milk from the calf. She makes way more than the calf could ever get.
Gotcha.
So it's like a nice little balance where she shares with me, I take care of her, I take care of her calf,
Right.
and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And then my customers benefit. Of course, they benefit more whenever I do wean the calf because she makes more milk.
Yeah.
But that's why big conventional dairies go into this looking at it from money standards. If you wean the calf quickly, then you get more money.
Yeah.
You get more milk.
Yeah.
But that's not really what we're doing here. We're looking at it as happy and healthy cows so we can be happy and healthy too.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. So let's dive a little bit into safety, because I know when you say raw milk, the first thing that comes to people's mind is panic, like you talked about. So what are some things that we should be looking for when we when we visit a farm and talk to the farmer, questions we should ask them, red flags we should look out for to make sure that their milk is going to be safe for us to drink?
Yeah. So source is key, like we talked about earlier. You want to be making sure that your raw milk is coming from a farm that is handling everything as clean as possible. And when you're making that switch, there's a couple questions that are my first thing. Like if I'm going to go buy raw milk from somebody else's, where do your cows live? What are they eating? And then the other question that I ask that a lot of people don't know to ask is, are your cows disease free? Because that is where the people that are scared to death about raw milk, they have a point. Because if you're drinking raw milk from a diseased cow, yeah, you'll get sick.
Yeah.
So it's a huge responsibility on the raw milk dairy farm to make sure that their cows are disease free and that their milk is disease free and pathogen free. And the disease that we test for are tuberculosis, which is eradicated in the United States, but still something that we test for because it can be fatal. So we test for tuberculosis, BLV, which is bovine leukemia virus, BVD, which is bovine viral diarrhea, Johne's, and brucellosis. So the only one that's really fatal to humans is tuberculosis, but some of those others can cause Crohn's, and it's bad for the cow, it's bad for our GI system, and you just don't really want to be drinking milk from a sick cow. That sick cow can have mastitis. Mastitis is a huge risk for E. coli. So mastitis is basically when their udder just gets engorged, maybe from not milking enough or from poor milking conditions. So I would ask my farmer, how do you clean your cow's udder before you milk? And if they can't tell you that, then there's a problem.
Okay.
But it's really just standard general knowledge for dairy farmers that you should clean with friction with a good kind of soap, that you should be using a pre-dip iodine to make sure that you kill all the bacteria, because cows are going to lay and poo.
Yeah.
And then that's how E. coli gets in their udder and it transfers down to you.
Okay.
So another good question, the farmer's going to think you're really super educated when you ask this, is do you strip the teats before you milk?
Okay.
Whether you hand milk or machine milk, because there's some milk sitting in there that's been in there for 24 hours, 12 hours, depending on how often they milk. And if they don't strip that out, then all that milk has just got bacteria and it's sitting in the teat canal. Okay. So lots of questions you can ask your dairy farmer. They're going to be like, whoa, where are you coming from with this? But it's really good questions like, how do you clean your equipment? Can you tell me the process of it? Do you clean your equipment? Because there's raw milk farmers that don't clean their equipment. Ooh. But a good, I guess, testimony for raw milk is there's people doing this all over North Carolina and the United States that are doing it the way that their grandparents did it, because that's all that they know. Yeah. And people, for the most part, aren't getting sick, right? So raw milk has actually got good bacteria in it that kills bad bacteria. Yeah. You get it cold quickly. I'd ask my farmer, how quick is your milk less than 40 degrees? The standard is to be 40 degrees in less than an hour. Okay. How do you chill your milk? Because all those things kill off pathogens, but raw milk actually kills listeria in the milk in 7 days.
Love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's research that, the FDA won't publish.
Yeah.
But, but there's research out there, and I highly recommend people that are interested in this to go to the rawmilkinstitute.com and look at all the research and the actual articles and PubMed articles out there that are on the real research of raw milk. And that's part of what I do, is I'm taking all the data from all these farmers all over the US and Canada, and we're seeing that raw milk is safe. Yeah. If it's done correctly, raw milk is safe and you can drink it for human consumption. Like I said, that's coming from the Raw Milk Institute side of me, not
Yeah.
the dairy farmer.
Right, of course. So you mentioned earlier about it being illegal. Can you touch on the legality in states?
Yeah, so it varies from state to state in the United States. Canada, it's completely illegal. So we're fortunate here that it's gaining ground. North Carolina specifically, you can sell raw milk as pet milk for pet consumption, or you can sell it as a herd share. So you can be a herd share member and legally drink that milk for human consumption. So the people who are herd share members at the Barefoot Cow pay a certain amount for me to keep their cow every single month. And it's like a boarding fee. And I'm milking your cow for you, which allows you to get the milk. So that's not illegal. It's totally legal in all North Carolina ways, which is great because that's a step above what it was probably 10 years ago where it was just completely illegal.
Yeah.
And then the people that come and buy it for pet milk, it's literally the same milk as the herd share milk. It's just labeled, it is illegal to sell in North Carolina. This is not for human consumption. And they do with it what they want. I don't ask questions.
Gotcha. And is that kind of similar in a lot of states?
It is that way in a lot of states. Montana, for instance, is completely legal and free. In North Carolina, I do think it's moving to completely legal. I think Georgia is moving the next year to be it being completely legal, which is great. But like I said earlier, you can have enough rope to hang yourself.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so passionate about just telling people how to do it the right way, or trying to follow a standard and a protocol to where we continue this safe food handling. If you handle it the right way, then it's going to be good. So I think that people who are serious about their health and they want to drink raw milk, they already understand that.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to find many dairy farmers that aren't trying to do this the right way.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of being educated and just trying to do it the best way possible.
Okay, so in conclusion, last question, how can people learn more about getting their own family milk cow for them and their neighbors? And are there any resources that you provide or you want to provide about that?
Yeah. So that's been growing in popularity lately with the food system the way it is. People are really starting to think where their milk and their food comes from. So I have a lot of people coming to me wanting raw milk. I'm sold out. So their next question is, how can I milk my own cow? And if you have land, then it's totally doable.
Okay.
The first step would be to just have acreage to be able to provide for your cow, right? Like we talked, they need 1 to 3 acres per cow. And it is definitely a commitment, but your cow doesn't have to be milked every day if you calf share.
Okay.
So you can still live a life and have a milk cow for at least the first 5 or 6 months while your calf isn't weaned. Because of that question, everybody asking, how do I do it myself? And being in a position where I can educate, I've just been having my own milk courses on my farm and via Zoom that you can learn everything you need to know about starting out. It's called Safely Owning a Milk Cow for Beginners. So it's truly like people have come and taken my course that have never touched a cow, don't live the farm life, but they're buying a farm and they want to start. If you're not really ready to get your own cow right now, the Raw Milk Institute has training videos, like 4 hours worth of videos that you can watch step by step, how to clean the udder, how to clean the equipment, how to take care of the milk. It's very thorough and just really good knowledge to know. And then when you are ready for your own milk cow, you can come to me and I can let you take my course and we can go over all of that. But as far as like maybe where to get your raw milk, if you go to the Raw Milk Institute, you can find RAWME listed dairies, and then you can go to realmilk.com. Those are not RAWME listed dairies, but they're still dairies producing raw milk that you can go and ask all these questions.
Okay.
Like I said, I think in general, most people are doing this safely.
So I'll definitely include all those links in the description. Be sure to check them out. Do you have a website?
I do, thebarefootcow.com.
Well, thank you so much for this video. This has been so great and I feel like we have learned so much. I hope that this was helpful for anybody out there who's interested in starting to drink raw milk and looking for a raw milk farm near you. Kelsey's an amazing resource and I'm so lucky that I have her here in my local area, but definitely check the websites that I will link below to look for farms in your area. I really want people to realize that raw milk is so amazing and it's what people have been consuming and drinking for literally thousands of years, and sometimes what people have really used to survive on and thrive. And so I think it's just such a powerhouse and a great thing to add into your diet. So check all the links, and I hope this was helpful, and leave a comment if it was and let me know. Until next time, stay wild. Bye.